What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to give you guys some quick Atlanta Falcons news, and then I also would like to talk about Julio Jones' farewell letter to the Atlanta Falcons fans. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys who continue to tune into the channel. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. If you would like to donate to my channel, you can donate at my Cash App, which is the $ Jew Talk Sports. But I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So first off, in Atlanta Falcons news, today did kick off mandatory minicamp for our Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith had a media session today after the mandatory minicamp practice, and he basically talked about in this period of time during the mandatory minicamp, they're trying to install the offense and the defense, trying to get these players used to lining up properly and knowing where they need to be. Learning the language, the new language that they're bringing over with the offense and defense, players being able to communicate with each other when it comes to audibles and things of that nature. They're installing the offense during this time. So he said it's really going to be important for these guys to pick up on the offense and things of that nature. They talked about there will be no padded practices during this mandatory minicamp. It's mainly this time is mainly for the players to pick up, the playbook, and guys being able to mentally be prepared for the season, be prepared for training camp. He also talked about during his media session, during training camp, we will be having joint practices with the Miami Dolphins this year, which could be a chance for guys to go out there and compete against another team in practice, which the Falcons haven't been able to do the last couple seasons. Last season, we couldn't do it due to COVID. And then if you remember when Dan Quinn was here and the last regime was here, we didn't do a ton of joint practices with other teams and competing against other teams during training camp. So I do think that this is something interesting. It's always good to compete against another team and not just competing against your teammates. So I definitely think that that's something that's going to be huge for our Atlanta Falcons during training camp and also preparing the players for the preseason and for the regular season. Arthur Smith also talked about a little bit. They asked him about Julio Jones. He basically just stated at this point, Julio Jones has moved on. He basically stated also that he doesn't like talking about players that he hasn't coached. So Julio Jones is not a player that he actually was able to interact with. So he basically has moved forward, which I think is the best move for him, not addressing the Julio Jones situation at this point. This Atlanta Falcons team is moving forward. Now, with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for the Atlanta Falcons news. It's good to see those players get back out there on the grass and, get prepared for this season. We're getting closer and closer. We're about less than 100 days away from the NFL kickoff for our first game against the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's really good to see those players back out there on the field, beginning to gain the camaraderie and building, the team building. Now, with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for Atlanta Falcons news. I also want to talk about Julio Jones and his farewell letter to the Atlanta Falcons fans. Today, he did submit a statement, I believe, on Twitter to all of the Atlanta Falcons fans and Julio Jones fans. He thanked the city of Atlanta for having him for over a decade. And he basically just stated that, he appreciated all of the fans that cheered for him while he was here in Atlanta, all of the players that supported him when he was here in Atlanta. And I think it was long overdue. I'm not too sure why he waited. I possibly believe that he waited till he was finally traded to submit the letter, to the fans. But I do believe that the fans deserved some type of, ending the chapter, closing the book on the Julio Jones era here in Atlanta. I do personally want to thank Julio Jones for all of the great memories that he brought to the Atlanta Falcons team, and all of the things that he helped this Atlanta Falcons team accomplish. Getting to a Super Bowl, getting to 2 NFC Championship games. Julio Jones leaves the Atlanta Falcons as the all-time leader in receiving yards. I believe Roddy White still holds the records for touchdown receptions, but Julio Jones is arguably the greatest Atlanta Falcons player of all time, other than a guy like Matt Ryan. So I do wish Julio Jones nothing but the best in his new chapter with the Tennessee Titans. But with that being said, the Atlanta Falcons now can move forward and close the book on the Julio Jones era, close the chapter. But I do believe Matt Ryan, I do believe Julio Jones did the correct thing with submitting his statement and thanking the fans for all of the support over the years. And I do believe that Julio Jones still has a lot left in the tank. I do believe that Julio Jones will be successful with the Tennessee Titans. And like I said, I wish him nothing but the best. But I believe Julio Jones being traded is for the best for our Atlanta Falcons organization. Julio Jones made it known that he didn't want to be a part of the Atlanta Falcons organization anymore. And Terry Fontenot, Rich McKay, Arthur Blank, they did the right thing by getting rid of a player like Julio Jones or trading Julio Jones before training camp kicks off and before mandatory mini camps kicked off. So these players don't have to continue to answer questions about a guy like Julio Jones who didn't want to be here. So I do think that a huge burden has been lifted off of guys like Matt Ryan and the leaders of this team having to answer questions day in and day out about Julio Jones. Will he be an Atlanta Falcon this season? And the contract situation, the cap situation. We have a huge burden that's been lifted off of our shoulders with the whole Julio Jones saga. But I definitely, like I said, I wish Julio Jones nothing but the best. Personally, I think that Julio Jones is the greatest receiver to play in the NFL. I do think that he's definitely one of the GOATs when it comes to the wide receiver position. And this is something that Jerry Rice said out of his own mouth, talking about how talented a player like Julio Jones, how talented of a player he was and is. So with that being said, I just wanted to say thank you to Julio Jones and all he did for our Atlanta Falcons organization. Like I said, thank you for all of the memories. But with that being said, that's pretty much all I had for pretty much all I had for the video. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. I'll have a lot more coming for you guys. Please hit that like button, subscribe button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy my content, be tuned in for tomorrow. I will be going live every Wednesday night. Tomorrow night, What's the Word, Dirty Bird? Episode 2 will be tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be discussing Julio Jones and the Tennessee Titans and how successful Julio Jones could possibly be in Tennessee. And we also will be discussing our Atlanta Falcons and where do we go from here? Will the Atlanta Falcons be able to compete without a guy like Julio Jones? Will the Falcons be contenders in this upcoming season without a player like Julio Jones? But with that being said, this being your boy Jew, I'll holler at you guys in the next video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.